What's the difference between Superman and a fly? Superman can fly, but a fly can't Superman. Welcome back to my YouTube channel as we discuss Superman and Lois. These two characters got a brand new TV show of the same name, and the pilot aired on the CW network this evening. So we're going to discuss this pilot very informally with spoilers in this video. Thanks for joining me. And if you're new to the channel, I hope that you'll check out the rest of the content when this video wraps up, and please consider subscribing to the channel. You'll also want to stick around as I'll be sharing a photo of me with one of the Superman and Lois cast members before this video wraps up. So I didn't write out a script, but instead just took some notes from each segment of the pilot episode of Superman and Lois, and I thought we'd talk about my first thought reactions to those. I like the pacing that this show set from the very beginning. The montage of events that I think pretty much everyone knows of Superman's history and origin are recapped and taken care of fairly quickly from the very beginning in this series. I like that. I think it established the fact that we're going to say where he's been and get us to where we want to be with the story they're going to tell going forward. What was especially cool was seeing Superman's OG costume, just for a brief moment in the first time that we do see him in costume on the show. Being a comic book purist and a true collector, that was a nice nod that I really enjoyed. One thing that always seems to get to me, and it doesn't matter in what incarnation, is Jonathan Kent's death. And that is covered very quickly within the first minute of the show starting. And it just gets to me every time. It doesn't matter which Jonathan it is. It's part of the Superman lore. Jonathan Kent is going to die. And it's just a fact that when Jonathan Kent dies, I am going to be affected by that. I have to say that I saw a hint of Christopher Reeve's performance, especially in Tyler Hoechlin's Clark Kent portrayal, and I enjoyed that too. I thought it was a nice OG nod to the first Superman movie. So one of the early names that I recognize from the comic books that gets mentioned, although we don't see him, is Morgan Edge. And the fact that it gets mentioned so many times makes me almost think, at least, that he's going to be the main antagonist for this series instead of maybe Lex Luthor. There's a lot of Morgan Edge talk, and there's no Lex Luthor talk. Later on, Lana Lang would mention the name Pete. That has to be Pete Ross, childhood friend from Smallville. And I'm sure that that's going to be a setup for us to see Pete Ross sometime in a future episode, and I really would enjoy that as well. And before the first commercial break, a stroke. Martha's had a stroke. This is not good. The feels are already starting to get to me. So we get through our first commercial break, and we come back and we're dealing with the death of Martha Kent. Whoa. This means that Clark is on his own, at least when it comes to parental figures on the show. It also introduces us to Lana Lang and her husband Kyle. You definitely see the jealousy that Kyle has towards Clark, and I think we're going to see that played up in future episodes as well. We're also getting some humor by the second segment in this show, as one of Clark and Lois's twins asks, "What's the FFA?" That did put a smile on my face. So into the third segment. My only note that I made for that is, once again, we see how strong of a character Lois Lane is, and that should always be that way. Lois Lane has always been a strong woman and character, and always should be. It got me thinking back to the very creation of Lois Lane over 80 years ago, and to see such a strong woman back then who didn't even have superpowers, but she was very strong, very resourceful, very smart. And I love still seeing that depicted. That has never really changed from the character in all of these years, nor should it ever. And I loved, once again, seeing that being reaffirmed in this TV show. So my taste in comic books really goes up to about the Copper Age. After that, it starts to lose something a little bit for me. So seeing Superman and Lois as parents is definitely new material for me. I'm not sure how much of this they're pulling from events that have happened in the comic books or not. But seeing Clark reveal his powers to his kids was very cool. The fact that he lifted up a pickup truck, that was so reminiscent for me as well from Superman the movie. Because when Martha and Kent in that movie found little Kal-El, who became Clark, he lifted up the truck too. So that was a nice homage to me. The fact that the first time that he's displaying his powers for a family member, be it this time it's his twins, he's doing the same thing. He's lifting up the truck. I like that. At this time, too, I also got a strong appreciation for how good the musical score is. Of course, nothing's going to beat John Williams' Superman score, and I would love to see that incorporated somewhere at some time into this series. But the score and the way it was scored in this episode is very strong, very good. The music is something that I don't always notice, but when I do notice it, it's because it's good and it's effective in where it's being used, and that definitely was the case in this episode. Thumbs up to them for that. Props. Also props to them for addressing the topic of mental illness in this show. I mean, Jordan appears to have some type of a mental illness problem. The fact that he says to Clark, "You were sent here to be a hero, not a father," that was huge and powerful to me. Now, Jordan, out of the two twins, is the one that I'm not as familiar with. I know Jonathan a little bit, and am more familiar with Jonathan from the comic books. Jordan is a new character for me, so I'm interested to see how that's going to be developed. But I love the fact that mental illness was discussed. It looks like it's going to be a part of future storylines, and that one of Superman's kids is affected by it. So in between all of the events, we have a mysterious type villain that Superman is dealing with too. After all, we got to get a little comic booky in this TV show. And at first, the voice that I almost thought it was Terrence Stamp for a moment, which really would have been nice. Before we went to a commercial break and I heard the voice, I thought, ooh, could that be Terrence Stamp? But coming back from the commercial break, I didn't think that so much. So we have a villain that Superman's dealing with, and at one point, he's up above the Earth. And the way that that footage was shot was very reminiscent for me of the Brandon Routh Superman Returns film. So by this point, we're over an hour into the 90-minute episode, and the pacing is going along very well. What I wrote down for this segment for notes was, I liked the fact that they had some type, first I thought it was a lighter, but I guess it was some type of pager device, at least that Lois had, and it was also established that Lois's father has one too, so they can contact Clark when they need him, and they needed him by that point. Clark was up in space. He's battling a villain he doesn't know about yet. And at first I thought, well, it's like Jimmy Olsen's signal watch, but it wasn't a signal watch at all. And then I thought it was a lighter. It wasn't that either, but I guess it was kind of a pager. I guess that's the only way to say what I thought it was. But at some point, if they introduce Jimmy Olsen into this, which they need to, he has to get a Superman signal watch, because that would be super cool. And we also got a little more humor in this segment as Superman, who's plummeting to Earth after being struck with kryptonite, almost lands on a man's car as he's driving. The two make eye contact, and the guy just kind of waves. And Superman kind of acknowledges them before he shoots off in the sky and back to Smallville. I like that part too. I thought that was cute. I mean, what would you do if you met Superman and you just had a brief second interaction, eye-to-eye contact with Superman? You're going to wave or do something. That was probably the highlight of that man's life. So as we reach the final segment of the episode, the only note that I wrote down was a big one. We see our villain, and he's in icy surroundings. Could he be in the Fortress of Solitude? But then the name is revealed. Who is our villain? It's a name we've been waiting to hear the entire episode. The villain is Captain Luthor. Boom. So after the episode wrapped up, there was a special called Legacy of Hope that took us behind the scenes of this new series. One thing that they mentioned there that I really saw and agreed with, this is the reset of the Arrowverse TV universe for the CW network. And I think it's a good flagship show to make a foundation with. So what did I think of the show overall? I really liked it. I thought the pacing in the show was really good. I like the fact that we're seeing a Superman and Lois that are dealing with situations that we haven't seen portrayed in different TV shows and movies before. They've moved back to Smallville, but I certainly see this show not being just Smallville, the Tom Welling series, part 2. They have a unique perspective to go on, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to pull off. I'm really looking forward to some guest stars appearances. They did say that Supergirl, Melissa Benoist, will be making at least an appearance, if not more. The more the better, I say, on the series in the future too, and I'm looking forward to that. If I could have gotten my wish, I would have had her as a regular. I would have had the two co-stars, kind of a Kryptonian cousins theme. I really would have liked that. I think they work very well together. So what didn't I enjoy about Superman and Lois? I hate to say this, I hate to talk about this, and it feels a little uncomfortable, but the fact that it takes me out of the moment 80% of the time means I need to address it. And it's happened since the very beginning, and it's the casting of Elizabeth Turlock as Lois Lane. I just think, and I hate saying this once again, but I think she looks old. Now, Elizabeth Turlock in real life just turned 40 last month. She's about 6.5 years older than Tyler Hoechlin. The problem is, on screen, she looks maybe 6 to 8 years older than she is, at least to me. And he looks 3 to 5 years younger than he is. So you've got that big gap right there. And as I said, about 80% of the time, it takes me out of the moment. She's a good actress. Is she the right actress for Lois? I don't know. Would it be, maybe is it bad lighting? I don't know. If she had bangs, would that fix it? I don't know. It's something to consider. But the fact is, like I said, at least 80%, if not more of the time, looking at her, she just looks so old and it looks like such a mismatch to me. I think she's a good actress. I just don't know if she's right for Lois Lane. Now, one thing I'm going to say in defense, I've had a similar type of situation with this character before. Kate Boswell in the Superman Returns film was way too young to be a believable Lois Lane to me. And 100% of the time of her performance, it took me out of the moment because I just didn't buy her and looking that young as being such a successful Lois Lane as she supposedly was supposed to be. She was supposed to be the same way that Margot Kidder was in the film, with the same level of success. She was essentially that same Margot Kidder character, just advanced on a few years later, and it didn't work. But the fact when I look at Elizabeth Turlock, and she looks older to me than she really is, and there's nothing wrong with being 40 years old or a 40-year-old actress getting work, but it's taking me out of the moment. And that's the only problem I have with this show. And I even hate talking about that. And I hope sometime in a future video, I'm eating my words for saying this and sharing that. That's it. That's the only thing that I really didn't care for. And that's a problem, as I said, I've been having since the very first time I saw her on some of the other CW shows cast as Lois Lane. It takes me out of the moment. Am I sticking with the show? Heck yeah, I'm sticking with the show. I'm excited. I was also very excited at C2E2 in Chicago in winter of 2019. I got a chance to meet one of the stars, as a matter of fact, the star of this show, Tyler Hoechlin. He was very nice, very cordial, and we had a very awesome visit too, and got a little selfie taken as I'm sharing with you right now. So I'm not planning on doing a weekly Superman and Lois review on my show. However, if you've enjoyed this video, I hope you'll let me know in the comment section below. Maybe I'll do something like how I've enjoyed it so far, like 2 times a season or so, and catch up on different episodes and my highlights and my lowlights. That's something I might consider as well. But I want your feedback. Leave me a comment below what you thought of this video, what you thought of Superman and Lois in general. What are you looking forward to in the future on this TV series? I want to know all of those things in the comment section below. Once again, if you're new to my channel, I hope that you'll check out the other content that I have here. Just yesterday, I uploaded an AOK, which is an act of kindness, and you can see some awesome gifts that I received from great YouTube comic book community members like D. Runt Comics and Copy 801. That was in the video I shared yesterday. I'll be sharing with you another WandaVision review coming up this Friday on my channel, and we'll have more AOKs and comic book edition videos to share in the future on my channel as well, so I hope you'll join me for that. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. Your support means the world to me. Also, leave a comment below, and please like this video and share it. It's all appreciated. I always say I couldn't do this without you, nor would I want to, and I certainly mean it. I hope you enjoyed Superman and Lois and enjoyed my Superman and Wonder Woman t-shirt that I'm rocking. It might not be the only piece of Superman clothing that I'm wearing too. That's all I'm saying for now. And I'll catch you right here on my channel for another video soon. Take care.